The prize that made Sumumu surprised was a permit to enter the Forgotten Nest dungeon. The system congratulated Lin Yi and his teammates for fulfilling the requirements to enter the Forgotten Nest. Disaster. Original Sin observer who kept the dungeon will open gate for them. Seeing the key that flew to Lin Yi's hand, Sumumu was surprised. Lin Yi told them to remember what he said before. He said that they would defeat the cursed teacher to be able to get an entrance ticket to Forgotten Nest. While glancing at Sumumu, Lin Yi said,
"Complete the hidden task, get the entry pass, change the dungeon setup. Wonder what impact this will have on other."
Sumumu is confused. She considers it right because if they help them, no one needs to worry about the matter of cursed teacher, minimize the possibility of giving up before the last test, and makes it easier for the way to professional. This will make them lose important training to become pro. For a moment Lin Yi told Sumumu to forget it and invited him to defeat the last boss. While starting, Lin Yi said that what was left in this dungeon was only Giant in the Deep. Set up for Giant's demise forest was quite interesting. The second boss, Dark Curse Knight, actually is the most powerful boss in this dungeon. The last boss does look like Godzilla, with a large skill that can shake the ground, but according to Lin Yi, him is only the equivalent of wild creatures. This creature is named Giant in the end with level 15, the skill of Giant's Barrage, and Giant Iron Fist. This creature is an unknown creature, the mysterious. Its presence in this place cannot be explained. When he saw the creature, Baiji asked Lin Yi to ascertain what he saw. The instructions said that they had to approach his left leg and cut his nails. Lin Yi confirmed what she saw and asked him not to worry. Lin Yi said that because attack this speed monster is very slow. Lin Yi told Baiji to approach his left foot. He also commemorates Baiji to be careful because this monster will try to step on him all the time. Baiji accepts all Lin Yi's advice and intends to lure him. When Baiji will lure him, Lin Yi tells Baiji to wait a while, smiling. Lin Yi told Baiji that he didn't say he would use the same strategy this time. Lin Yi's words made Baiji surprised. Lin Yi changed his strategy by telling the cursed teacher to finish his dirty work. Lin Yi began to bring up the Dark Curse Knight. Him had a level of 15 and had the same strength when he was still a dungeon boss. Lin Yi shouting to tell the cursed teacher to attack Giant in the end. Cursed teacher starts running at high speed towards Giant in the end, which makes Giant in the end surprised. The cursed teacher who runs start using his skill named Moonlight Thrust that penetrates the body of Giant in the end. Giant in the end, which turns out to be still alive, begins attacking the cursed teacher using Giant's barrage skills. With the skill Curse Knight Weakness Insight that can see the opponent's weaknesses, he starts using 3 skills at once towards Giant in the end named Rising Slash, Moonlight Swords Chi and Triple Strike. At that time Lin Yi told Sumumu to immediately use his ultimate skill, when it was also Sumumu to tell Baiji to give buff to both of them with Baiji reinforcing skill. Baiji received their request and began to use the Greatsword Fighter's inspiration skill that could make the team attack increase and also increase the team's critical rate. Baiji attacked Giant in the end with the Flame Sword Chi, while Sumumu, who used talent Bionic Tears, began starting use the Poison Bubble skill towards the creature. The combo attack made Giant in the end, which only had a little health, that began to decrease again to make the health remains only very little. Lin Yi, who became the last person to attack Giant in the end, said if now he will finish this. Lin Yi using Fallen Hell, which makes the monster unable to move. Yellow light began to emerge from Lin Yi because its level had risen. It happened because he managed to defeat the boss dungeon Giant in the end, because it has defeated the boss of dungeon Sumumu, and Baiji also began to level up. Unlike Baiji and Sumumu, who have 7 and 8 levels, Lin Yi go up to level 10, which makes Sumumu look excited when he sees it.
Lin Yi, you're level 10 now.
Baiji began to be surprised when he saw them starting to level up again. She was surprised because she had never seen an incident like this before. The prize began to be calculated from the completion of the Giant's Demise Forest dungeon. The gift box was upgraded to the dungeon because Baiji's buff was named Gaze the Goddess of Luck, and because it has gone through all the hidden conditions. The assessment was upgraded to the SSS level and succeeded in receiving the Platinum gift box because of the Goddess of Luck Gaze. The system began to ask the Lin Yi party whether they would open it now or not. Happily Sumumu began to hug Baiji.
Wow, Xiao Bai, your luck is crazy. You're already like a fortune that can walk.
Baiji felt awkward when he was appointed by Sumumu. Smiling, Lin Yi said that that was what made him put Baiji into the team. Lin Yi began to press the box. The diamond gift box was open, and from that box they got the diamond rising level skill Tide and platinum level equipment Heart of the Giant. Party Lin Yi also gets 15 free attribute points and 1 lighting paper for everyone. Platinum gift box has also been opened. Each party member gets 15 free attribute points, get platinum White Spirits equipment, and White Spiritual Knight Spear, and also 3 Marrow Ash. The first item Hearth of the Giant is equipment that is carried everywhere. All attributes plus 15, have active skills Giant Strength, provide protection effects for 5 seconds. The second item of Marrow Ash can add a protective destroyer effect on weapons and can increase physical attack weapons. The third item of Magic Paper can add magic damage to electrical elements to weapons. First equipment is White Spirit Knight's Breastplate Set. This equipment is an exclusive armor for Knight, increases strength and constitution, reducing agility, activating the effect of set. The second equipment of White Spirit Knight Spear Set, exclusive spears for Knight, increasing strength, gives the Radiant Javelin effect, increases Javelin Radiant skills to 2 levels, activating the effect. The latter is a skill named Rising Tide. This skill is an exclusive skill for Priest. This skill can heal all colleagues who enter the reach and eliminate 2 debuffs randomly. Lin Yi, who sees this, is jerked. He feels this skill is not bad and decent for use. After studying Rising Tide, because of the skill effect of Lin Yi Reversal Lin Yi, the skill changed to Dead Sea Level 1. Dead Sea skill effect can call the deadly waves that sweep space, giving 500 damage to all enemies in the reach, not including attributes and modification of equipment. The effect of this skill can also provide 2 debuffs randomly. After finishing studying his skills, Lin Yi thinks his Reversal Beyond does not change the buff team skill to be deadly. Lin Yi feels this skill is similar to boss's control skills, like the White Spirit Knight Charge that is intended to be able to stun and slow down. Lin Yi feels that this skill can eliminate debuffs and increase their speed after reversal. When Rising Tide is used as a skill to attack, debuff remover for colleagues will turn into debuffs for enemies. Lin Yi starts to stare. He feels this skill cannot be arranged because of its random targets. This skill reduces the healing attributes of enemies and even creating control effects like stun. Lin Yi, who has studied Rising Tide, reminded him that he had to focus on learning the removal skill to build a playstyle control. He also thought that the description of the Reversal of Heaven was very clear. He had a hunch when his talent had reached a high level, even the essence of his skills could change. While holding his chin, Lin Yi feels that he can return whatever he wants. Lion Yi began to turn his head towards Sumumu and Baiji. He said that he would share and arrange prizes when he came out of the dungeon. He told them both if he had to report to the academy and show Guanyang about the cursed teacher who had disappeared and declined the level of difficulty of dungeon. With a serious look, he said that this would make a big excitement. The next day at the principal's office, someone shouted and was surprised by something. That person was the principal. He began to pat the table because he was surprised by information that said that Lin Yi defeated the Dark Curse Knight at Giant's Demise Forest. The person who gave information it is Guanyang. The principal, who is still surprised, wants to know that his hearing is not wrong, because what they are talking about right now is a matter of Giant's Demise Forest with catastrophic level. He also wants to know whether Lin Yi is getting SSS assessment in the catastrophic dungeon. The system identifying the settlement and directly reduces the level of difficulty of Giant's Demise Forest is the correct information. Guanyang confirmed what the principal said. He said that Lin Yi contacted him after he came out of the dungeon, and when sending his alliance to the dungeon, the alliance had confirmed that. The principal asked Guanyang about the entrance ticket for Forgotten Nest. Guanyang nodded and said if Lin Yi had got it. Guanyang also told the principal that he would know about this information. Currently only 73 pro players have entered Forgotten Nest. Out of 73 players, 24 sacrificed themselves in the dungeon. The rest stopped in the middle of the road, had never been completed. The dungeon, even up to half the way, has never existed. With lethargic eyes, Guanyang said that pro player who failed could not repeat for the second time. While imagining his past that failed to enter the dungeon, Guanyang said not because they did not want to, but because they could not get a ticket enter or because it has gone through level limits. While holding the shoulder of the shavings, Huang Tianchi said that Lin Yi had to enter while still at level 15 without the need to rise to level 16. Huang Tianchi felt Lin Yi was a promising pro player. He was sure that the alliance would definitely provide full support, but when Lin Yi already inside the dungeon, everything is up to him. The principal began to smile and said if this was a very good news. He also said that all students at the academy, the principal felt that they had to hold an award ceremony. While sighing, the headmaster said if actually it has suggested to seal this dungeon, but all parties do not agree. With a serious look, Huang Tianchi said the quality of the quantity, and students who could not face difficulties must be eliminated. He felt that the alliance would not provide support to those who were not suitable to be pro. The principal said that he only said his feelings. He feels that Dark Curse Knight is a monster that has frightened their students for several generations. While opening his fan, Guanyang said that if it was not that simple, at that time someone began to open the door. That person was Sumumu. While showing his cell phone, she apologized for disturbing the principal. She said that Lin Yi had just gotten problem. Sumumu said that their team had informed the Alliance after leaving dungeon, and within 24 hours this news exploded in the forum. The forum shown by Sumumu was a forum from Pro Player. The forum discussed frames by frame about Lin Yi was the result of the result talented corruption or demons. There are some people who want Lin Yi to be severely punished because of this. Sumumu said that from this news there was an analysis with bad intentions and recorded Lin Yi. They said that Lin Yi was similar to the devil and his talent was very unreasonable. While turning the cell phone, Sumumu also said because Lin Yi was an extraordinary student in the first pro academy in the city of Jiang and is a pro player of the future that is recognized by the Alliance. Sumumu considers that they all must have realized Lin Yi's character and strength. He is the pride of their academy. With panic, Sumumu wants them to do something for Lin Yi. Shangguanyang said that they understood his feelings, while opening the Shangguanyang forum said if he will make sure the news immediately disappears. But it seems to be too late, because the analysis of the pro who is a senior Alliance member with level 35 and graduated from the first pro academy in the capital city, he showed his analysis video and considered Lin Yi really fallen. He said that all children of mysterious and genius in last night just burst from the city of Jiang. From the forum, there are those who say that priest with output talent has never existed, especially with explosive damage. He considers that this video is not edited, meaning Lin Yi is allied with the devil. There are also those who say he hears from his father's friend that this video is engineering. One of the people answered that he was more trusting Lin Yi allied with the devil. The one who commented began to answer said that he considered what his father's friend said was the truth because he thought the scammer was better than Fallen, even though he still hoped that the Alliance had an investigation of a guilty punishment and did not cover up mistakes. There are people who tell Lin Yi to give proof or they will remain doubtful. There are also those who ask to cancel the qualifications of Lin Yi who he consider to fallen. There are also those who say that you think that Lin Yi is guilty and he also doesn't believe that Lin Yi is fallen. There are people who angry because people easily judge without proof. There are also those who ask to provide evidence not promises. The principal asked Sumumu to join him to ensure the teacher in question. Sumumu nodded and would attend the school principal. Huang Tianchu wanted to know whether the teacher in question existed. Shangguanyang said that this news would be made outsiders who did not understand how the Alliance works. He suggested that the Alliance, Academy, and family of Huang issued a joint statement, but he also thought that it might not be enough. Lin Yi suddenly appeared before them and said that he asked to undergo a devil or a test. Shangguanyang was surprised by Lin Yi who suddenly come and state that rejection of the three-way alliance has the impact of the sloping news on, and the teacher in question does not exist. Fortunately, the person who spread the slanted news has recognized his mistake. With 100 million views and 100,000 likes, the accusation of Lin Yi who made an agreement with the devil will be proven soon. Outside the Alliance headquarters, many reporters who came to broadcast the testing of Lin Yi. One of the journalists wanted to know whether Lin Yi could discuss the reason for conducting a demon or a test. Some asked whether his talent was related to the devil. There were also those who lack of trust in the Alliance's credibility, because no one knows whether the engine is in the brain to play or not. There are also those who still believe in Lin Yi and hope that he does not let the reporters drop him. When Lin Yi starts to come, there are people who are surprised by that. He heard that Lin Yi himself asked to undergo the aura of the devil. He said that the Alliance was in a situation difficult and telling to see it later. When Lin Yi began to glance at the reporters, they all began to be nervous and pretended not to know. The crowd of reporters who were previously crowded began to be quiet instantly, smiling and walking away. Lin Yi told them that they were afraid they didn't have to be reporters. People who were in the crowd began to appoint reporters. She said to speak. She wondered why they suddenly silenced. There was a man who said that they had just doubted the Alliance. He felt annoyed because he thought the reporters felt the world spinning around them. One of the people who saw that the Aura live test had been aired starting to tell the others not to waste his time to speak. At the Devil Aura testing place, one of the tests invited Lin Yi into the structure of the sacred judgment. Lin Yi began to release his jacket and accepted. Detection of the Devil Aura contamination had begun with 5% in the detection. The examiner began to say something to Lin Yi. The examiner felt that Lin Yi actually didn't need to do this because there were indeed some people who really didn't like seeing other people successful. He said that most pro players believed in his strength. Lin Yi smiled and said that in fact all of this was interesting. When Lin Yi said it was 15% in the detection, Lin Yi said he didn't care what the people said, he just didn't want to make those who already trust him feel worried. The examiner says that now he understands. When they were talking 50% were already running, the examiner said that if Lin Yi had to get the results that loaded if they would not catch him, Lin Yi accepted that. Lin Yi began to focus his mind to speed up his tools and 85% had been running. The examiners began to be nervous when the Devil Aura test reached 100%. As you wish, all the demon aura tests have been completed with 0% contamination, and there is no detected contact with the devil. One of the examiners said that it was a good thing and he would soon print the results. People who had previously did not believe in Lin Yi surprised by him who was not even a trace of the aura of the devil. He said that it was impossible. After seeing the news, the people who supported Lin Yi began to wonder where people who previously considered Lin Yi were fallen. There were people who were surprised by this. He felt confused with the priest with this output as strong with what kind of talent Lin Yi has. The person who answered his comments also felt confused. Him assumed that Lin Yi might be the chosen person. People who were outside named Lin Yi as night god and considered him very cool and unbeaten. With the jacket he was holding, Lin Yi began to look towards the direction drone and say that now he will show his level and attribute point. He said if someone dared to find a fuss with him, he would turn around what the person had done to him. Huang Shafeng, who saw this news, began to slam the cell phone to the bed. He wondered about people who believed it. While jumping from Huang Shafeng's window, Lin Yi was very suspicious and assumed that he could be like this because there was a devil's influence. He said that this was very dangerous and he had to commemorate him. Huang Shafeng, who peeked at Lin Yi from a distance, saw the food that Lin Yi brought and said that it was a slave food, which Lin Yi brought was a snack for Su Mumu and Bai Ji. Grumbling, Huang Shafeng, who saw Lin Yi brought snacks, say that Lin Yi really already fallen. He considers Lin Yi not wanting to enter the dungeon again and only satisfy his lust. When Huang Shafeng was confused and wondered about Lin Yi who suddenly disappeared, from behind him a shadow appeared. The person began to kick Huang Shafeng's buttocks and said that Huang Shafeng was now definitely running away from his house. Huang Shafeng said that it was a cunning thing. The person who kicked him that turned out to be Lin Yi said that the stalker seemed to be more cunning. While holding his sore buttocks, Huang Shafeng told Lin Yi not to prevent arrogant. He said that here to give him a warning that makes Lin Yi confused. Huang Shafeng began to go to Lin Yi and whispered something to him. Huang Shafeng considered Lin Yi to meet those who he called the abyss demon garbage. Easily Lin Yi answered not to Huang Shafeng. Lin Yi thought that there were only some of his men who came bother him while in the dungeon. While shouting, Huang Shafeng told Lin Yi not to lie. Huang Shafeng was sure that people from Abyss came to him, because now the Abyss, who he called the Bao Pests, came to take revenge on Lin Yi. Huang Shafeng advised Lin Yi to report the alliance as soon as possible, and tells him to help the alliance tracking them. Lin Yi, who was curious after hearing Huang Shafeng's words, began to ask him,
"Oh, so you're saying an Abyss demon targeted you, but not only you resist, you also run to authorities."
While holding back his anger, with confidence, Huang Shafeng said that the mice did not even dare to show their faces in the human world, but they even thought they could make him submit, and it made him confused. While laughing, Huang Shafeng said that he was Huang Shafeng, born into the main character, wealth, good looks, and strength in number 1. He wanted to know whether he had to beat them up to prove himself. With a confusion expression, Lin Yi thought that Huang Shafeng was the number 1 person when it was made into a punchable. Even though Lin Yi doesn't like the arrogant nature of Huang Shafeng and still needs to be educated, Lin Yi is still impressed with him because he can withstand the temptation of the devil, which he thinks is extraordinary. Lin Yi started leaving Huang Shafeng and said that he was the same. Lin Yi said that he also hated Abyss Demon. Lin Yi also said that his talent was something they could not have. He thought Huang Shafeng had understood his meaning and did not say anything else. Huang Shafeng began to point Lin Yi and said that he did not know the purpose of his words. Huang Shafeng gave a warning to Lin Yi, said that he did not believe in him and would report this. A few moments after leaving Huang Shafeng, Lin Yi sighed and thought to contact Huang Tianchi so he could be locked up again. Lin Yi thought Huang Shafeng was a very noisy person. While on the way, Lin Yi began to hear the sound of a cell phone ringing hers and began to glance at his pocket. Lin Yi started taking his cell phone and saw the message of someone who said that they had captured the person who spread fake news. That person was the leader of the first professional fan club at the Jiang City Academy. That person said that the person they had caught even resell the strategy Lin Yi has given. Lin Yi, who was confused about asking who the person is, the person said that the name of the culprit was Cao Yuan. Him said that they were both classmates with he. Lin Yi asked about the proof. The person answered. Him said that Cao Yuan spread fake news in the group small. The person said that he got a screenshot from his friend. Lin Yi starts to give a voice message. He tells him to block Cao Yuan right now, and there must be no strategy or equipment that reaches he. And for his fake news, Lin Yi tells him to send the screenshot to him, because Lin Yi intends to send it by making professional forum post. The person said that if he could do that, but the problem was that the other students were angry. The person asked Lin Yi whether it was necessary to beat him up or not. Lin Yi answered that the pro exam would be held. He told that person not to destroy his life only for lowly humans. It seems, for Lin Yi, the best punction pro is to not give a free him attribute. Lin Yi told him that he would be an exclusive guide that was not sold to them because he had dismantled the guise of Cao Yuan. That person was confused because him did not know that such a guide existed. Lin Yi said that they were free to ask for a guide for any dungeon. That person was seen hesitant and want to ensure the seriousness of Lin Yi. Lin Yi told him to report people like Cao Yuan if they found it, and Lin Yi promised to provide other benefits for them. That person began to ask Lin Yi. Him was curious about when he could make this easy guide like a pro. Lin Yi forgot something and began say to him. Lin Yi told that person that he would release a guide for Land of Bones tomorrow, and he began to give his preview. The person was surprised when he saw the preview guide for Land of Bones. He felt that keeping the Health Holy Sword still 100% was a crazy thing, but that person still felt proud to have someone like Lin Yi at his school and him wanted Lin Yi to give more guide. Lin Yi said that he would do that, but before he wanted them to spread news for people who had bought an imitation guide from Cao Yuan if it broke their rights. He wanted them to give a warning too. If starting today, anyone who traded artificial guide will not get the guide again. The people began to receive Lin Yi's orders and would soon do it. People began to spread the news and give warnings. That person began to order people to remove artificial guides from Lin Yi who were the original owners of the imitated guide. Baiji participated to help Lin Yi. She commemorates people not to use artificial guides or will be blocked permanently and will not get any more guides. She said that if the protecting the hacker will be considered to be complained and will be given the same treatment. People who bought an imitation guide were some who were angry. He wondered about it. He said that those who bought an artificial guide only wanted to save money. A woman began to answer and justify it. She said that the artificial guide made by Cao Yuan was also not bad. People who defend Lin Yi say that this guide is original made by Lin Yi and is designed half to death in the dungeon. Him said Cao Yuan is just a reseller. There are people who are confused with them because they hope to get SSS completion prizes only at low prices. Him considers people who said that was the person who was numb. One of those who support Lin Yi is also confused, because that means they want Lin Yi not to ask for payment for things he has done. People who do not like the rules of Lin Yi start commented. One of them is not a problem if Lin Yi does not give guide, but for him this includes extortion. One of the people also assumed that Lin Yi could not be able to make a lot of guide and said that this was only a moment hype. One of the people who had received a preview from Lin Yi said that him had received a preview and one of the conditions for getting a special SSS gift is to keep the Health Holy Sword 100%. From his comments many wanted and asked that person to give him a preview. There are even people who have been aiming for it for a long time. People who don't like Lin Yi say that him doesn't believe it and doesn't want to see it. After saying that him starts leaving the chat group. People who are still in the chat group suggested blocking him forever. Him wants others in the chat group to check their identity and block their other accounts. The person in the chat group says no problem. One of the people who have blocked it asked to give the guide to him by begging. There are people who want to know how to enter the Night God group joining because he wants that. Some women also offer it at a high price. She promises to erase all artificial guides right now and promise to continue to support the original work of Night God. When Lin Yi is climbing the stairs, many are joining the group. There are some people who are ready through hell to get a guide and become a pro. Because many are Lin Yi's new fans, making the message received by Lin Yi exceeding the message limit that can be shown. When he saw his account, Lin Yi was confused when he saw many people who suddenly joined his group. Lin Yi began to sigh and think.
Well, when counting scumbags, you really have to hit where it hurts. A sharp point offers works better than a fist. So, this way I can secure my income stream without work.
Lin Yi finally arrived at the door of his room and will open it, but before doing that Lin Yi starts seeing his stats and equipment. For now, there is not much change in Lin Yi's status, but there is a red exclamation sign next to the Talent of Awakening Reversal of Heaven and Earth level 2 that Lin Yi has. Aware of that, making Lin Yi curious and start pressing it to see what happens. When pressing, a system screen appears with an explanation from his talent that is displayed on the screen. Seeing his talent, Lin Yi assuming that this skill leads to strength without limits and he just need to wait until the pro exam to improve this skill. Lin Yi thinks after passing level 10, with a boost from a free level and attribute, his intelligence is almost 150. Lin Yi thinks about the next purpose of he who tries to reach the base intelligence of 150 without a bonus from the equipment, and after he did that, Lin Yi intend to increase secondary stats such as agility, spirit, and constitution, and strength will increase the last. And thus the secondary stat has reached the top student level. After finishing thinking, Lin Yi began to give a message to Zhao Chiheng, and Zhao Chiheng began to ask about Lin Yi's needs to him. Lin Yi wrote that he wanted to buy priest equipment that was above the guild, including weapons, shoes, necklaces, and jade pendants. Lin Yi writes that he will send specific details. Zhao Chiheng, who saw Lin Yi's request, began to write if looking for priest equipment on gold was rather difficult. Lin Yi answered by saying that he would buy gold. Zhao Chiheng accepted the request and would give details to Lin Yi. 10 minutes later, Zhao Chiheng began sending details of items with attributes that have advantages, disadvantages, and prices. Seeing the items sent by Zhao Chiheng made Lin Yi start thinking. He felt that the weapon was okay but the shoes were not suitable for him. After receiving the details of the item that Lin Yi asked, he began to tell Zhao Chiheng that he would take Starry Healing Staff, Bone Necklace, and Whitebird Jade Pendant. Lin Yi informed to Zhao Chiheng if his shoes did not match him, Zhao Chiheng approved with it and will give discount. It makes Lin Yi start to thank him. Before ending their communication, Lin Yi said that if he needed forging stones to increase this item to level 10, Zhao Chiheng doubted Lin Yi, who wanted to get the item now because the price might be higher than usual. Lin Yi looked worried, heckled not tell Zhao Chiheng that he bought it to complete the Land of Death. Zhao Chiheng apologized for doubting Lin Yi. He said he would take care of as soon as possible with the total price of the 2,400,000 alliance. Lin Yi immediately paid it and received the item he chose before. The first item is Bone Necklace, has a gold quality with constitutional plus 10 effect, regenerating 5 health per second, max health plus 200, physical defense plus 20%. The second item is Whitebird Jade Pendant, has a gold quality with several effects including the effect of Whitebird. The Whitebird effect can call a bird spirit that absorbs 30% damage from magic attack when used. Bird spirits will reappear after leaving the fight. The third item is Starry Healing Staff, has gold quality, with the condition of the class Priest. The effect can improve intelligence plus 10, adding 100 attack power while attacking the affected opponent. By using forging stones, Lin Yi starts inserting Starry Healing Staff into anvil and starting his forging.